Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, and the first thing you notice isn't an alarm clock. It's silence. No airplanes overhead, no birds singing. Then you step outside. The sun is gone. Not because it's nighttime, but because millions of tons of volcanic ash have turned daylight into darkness. Across North America, highways are buried beneath thick layers of gray dust. Cities disappear behind enormous clouds of ash. Airports shut down, power grids begin to fail. Within days, panic spreads across continents as food supplies become uncertain and temperatures begin to fall. It sounds like the plot of a Hollywood disaster movie. But this terrifying scenario is connected to a real place, a place that millions of tourists visit every year to admire colorful hot springs, peaceful forests, and the famous Old Faithful Geyser. Yellowstone National Park. Hidden beneath this beautiful landscape lies something almost impossible to imagine. One of the largest volcanic systems on Earth. For decades, rumors have spread across the internet claiming that Yellowstone could wipe out humanity overnight. Others insist it's nothing more than fear-driven fiction. So, who's right? Could Yellowstone truly trigger the greatest natural disaster in human history? Or has one of Earth's greatest geological wonders become the victim of one of the internet's biggest exaggerations? To answer that question, we first need to travel millions of years into the past. Because the story of Yellowstone didn't begin with tourists or geysers. It began with unimaginable violence. And what happened back then may completely change the way you see this place forever. Millions of years before the first human ever walked the Earth. Before forests covered North America. Before the Rocky Mountains looked the way they do today. Something enormous was already happening deep beneath the planet's surface. Nearly 640,000 years ago, Yellowstone experienced its most recent supereruption. This wasn't an ordinary volcanic eruption. It wasn't like Mount St. Helens. It wasn't like Mount Etna. And it certainly wasn't like the volcanoes most people imagine. This was something almost beyond comprehension. Instead of a towering mountain exploding into the sky, the ground itself collapsed after an enormous underground magma chamber emptied in a catastrophic eruption. The result was a gigantic crater. A caldera stretching roughly 70 kilometers, 43 miles, across. Even today, that ancient scar still shapes the landscape of Yellowstone National Park. But here's what makes this place truly different. The eruption wasn't the real story. The real story was what it left behind. Deep below Yellowstone lies an enormous underground system of molten rock, hot gases, and superheated water. It powers more than 10,000 geothermal features, including geysers, hot springs, mud pots, and steam vents. Every eruption of Old Faithful, every colorful pool, every cloud of steam rising from the ground, is a reminder that immense heat still exists beneath your feet. But don't misunderstand what that means. Many people imagine Yellowstone as a volcano that's constantly building pressure like a ticking time bomb. The reality is far more complicated. Scientists continuously monitor earthquakes, ground movement, gas emissions, and underground temperatures. Every year, the ground rises, then sinks again. Thousands of tiny earthquakes shake the region. Hydrothermal features change. New vents appear. Old ones disappear. To someone scrolling through dramatic headlines online, that might sound terrifying, but are these actually warning signs? Or are they simply the normal heartbeat of one of Earth's most extraordinary volcanic systems? The answer isn't as obvious as you might think, because beneath all the headlines, there's one question scientists still take very seriously. What would happen if Yellowstone erupted again? And the first few hours would look nothing like most people imagine. Now, let's imagine the unthinkable. Not because scientists expect it to happen tomorrow, but because understanding the possibility helps us understand the real risks. It begins quietly. No massive explosion, no dramatic countdown, just a series of earthquakes. At first they're small, barely noticeable. Then dozens become hundreds. Within hours, the ground begins to deform. Roads crack, buildings tremble. Scientists monitoring Yellowstone notice something unusual. The seismic activity isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. Emergency teams rush to the park as news spreads across the country. Most people still believe it's just another earthquake swarm. But deep underground, something far more dangerous is happening. Pressure is rising. Then, without warning, the ground tears open. An explosion, unlike anything witnessed in recorded human history, erupts into the sky. Within minutes, a towering column of ash and volcanic gas climbs tens of kilometers into the atmosphere. The sound is almost impossible to describe. Near the eruption, it would be deafening. Farther away, many people wouldn't hear it at all. They would simply see the sky turning black. The first wave isn't lava. It's ash. Fine, razor-sharp volcanic ash begins falling across nearby states like gray snow. But this isn't ordinary dust. Each tiny particle is made of shattered volcanic glass. It can damage engines, destroy crops, contaminate water supplies, and make breathing dangerous without proper protection. Flights across large parts of North America are grounded almost immediately. Visibility drops. Highways become nearly impossible to navigate. Hospitals prepare for thousands of patients suffering from respiratory problems. Power stations struggle as ash clogs cooling systems and electrical equipment. Within hours, millions of people are trying to leave affected areas at the same time. Traffic stretches for miles. Gas stations run dry. Store shelves empty faster than they can be restocked. Panic spreads much faster than the ash itself. But here's something many disaster movies get wrong. The greatest threat isn't the explosion. It isn't the ash. And surprisingly, it isn't even the lava. The most devastating consequences would arrive days, weeks, and even months later. Because what happens high above the Earth could change life across the entire planet. And that's where the real story begins. The eruption is over. But for the rest of the world, the real disaster is only beginning. High above the Earth, billions of tiny ash particles and sulfur-rich gases continue spreading through the atmosphere. Unlike ordinary storm clouds, these particles don't disappear after a few days. Some remain suspended for months. Others can influence the climate for years. At first, most people outside North America don't notice anything unusual. Life continues as normal. Then, little by little, strange changes begin to appear. The sun looks weaker, days become colder. Sunsets glow with deep shades of red and orange. And farmers start asking the same question. Why aren't the crops growing? It's a phenomenon scientists call a volcanic winter. Instead of trapping heat like greenhouse gases, volcanic aerosols reflect part of the sun's energy back into space. Less sunlight reaches Earth's surface. Temperatures begin to fall. Growing seasons become shorter. Harvests become smaller. Food prices climb. Countries that depend on imported grain face difficult choices. Not because food suddenly disappears, but because global supply chains are pushed to their limits. History has already shown us what large volcanic eruptions can do. In 1815, Mount Tambora erupted in Indonesia, triggering what became known as the Year Without a Summer. Across parts of Europe and North America, crops failed, temperatures dropped, and food shortages spread. And Tambora, powerful as it was, was far smaller than the largest eruptions Yellowstone has produced in the distant past. Would modern technology help? Absolutely. Today's satellites could monitor the ash cloud. Global communication would spread warnings within minutes. Scientists could track atmospheric changes with remarkable precision. But even with all our technology, no country can simply manufacture sunlight. No government can instantly replace failed harvests across multiple continents. The challenge wouldn't just be surviving the eruption. It would be adapting to a world that suddenly becomes colder, darker, and far more unpredictable. Yet despite these frightening possibilities, there's another question that sparks endless debate online. Would Yellowstone actually wipe out humanity? Or is that the biggest misunderstanding of all? The answer may surprise you, because according to scientists, the truth is far less dramatic, and in many ways, even more fascinating. So, could Yellowstone really destroy the world? The honest answer is no. At least, not in the way many people imagine. For years, dramatic headlines have claimed that a Yellowstone eruption would instantly wipe out humanity. Movies have shown entire continents collapsing. Social media posts often suggest civilization would end overnight. But that's not what the science tells us. According to geologists, a future Yellowstone supereruption would almost certainly be one of the greatest natural disasters in human history. Millions of people could be affected. Large parts of North America would face devastating consequences. Global agriculture could suffer. The climate might temporarily cool. International trade would be severely disrupted. But none of that automatically means the end of humanity. In fact, our species has survived enormous volcanic eruptions before. Not because they were easy, but because humans are remarkably adaptable. Modern satellites would detect changes. Scientists would monitor the eruption in real time. Governments would coordinate emergency responses. Food could be transported across continents. Communities would rebuild, the world would change. But it wouldn't simply disappear. And perhaps that's the biggest surprise of all. The greatest danger isn't that Yellowstone will suddenly destroy civilization tomorrow. The greatest danger is how easily fear can spread faster than facts. A single misleading headline can reach millions of people within hours. A dramatic video can make an incredibly unlikely event feel inevitable. But science doesn't deal in certainty, it deals in evidence. And today there is no evidence that Yellowstone is about to produce a catastrophic supereruption. Could it happen someday? Yes, tomorrow. Scientists say there's no sign that such an event is imminent, which means the real lesson isn't about living in fear. It's about understanding the incredible planet we live on. Because sometimes, reality is far more fascinating than fiction. The next time you see a photo of Yellowstone, you probably won't think only about its waterfalls, its forests, or its famous geysers. You'll know that beneath all that beauty lies one of the most extraordinary geological systems on Earth. A place that reminds us how powerful our planet truly is. For now, Yellowstone continues to breathe quietly beneath the surface. Its geysers still erupt, its wildlife still roams freely, and millions of visitors continue to explore one of the most beautiful national parks on Earth. Will Yellowstone erupt again someday? Almost certainly. Will it happen in our lifetime? No one can say. But until that day comes, perhaps the greatest mystery isn't when Yellowstone will erupt. It's how such incredible power can remain hidden beneath a landscape that looks so peaceful. Sometimes, the most dangerous places on Earth are also the most beautiful.